Warning, this content may be disturbing to some audiences. Subscribe, if you dare.
We actually thought we weren't going to make it and made a death video that I still have to this day. Hey everybody, welcome to ANECDOSED. People ask Reddit. When did you genuinely think you were going to die? What happened instead?
Number 1.
Commenter. Fell off a 70-foot cliff. As I was tumbling down, a voice inside my head said you were going to die, and I accepted that. Time seemed to slow down and it was very peaceful. Then I hit the bottom and everything hurt and I had a broken back and wrist. I'm okay now though. Person B. Your acceptance and the peaceful feeling are probably what saved you. You are more likely to survive falls when relaxed. This is why a lot of drunk people fall off of balconies without a scratch. Person C. So true. Fell 30 feet off a balcony while drunk and immediately hopped up and ran up the stairs. The next day was rough.
Number 2.
I was parasailing with a group of random individuals and the guy driving the speedboat slowly came to a stop. He started yelling, "We ran out of gas." My first thought was that once I hit the water, this parachute was going to drag me down. I started unbuckling my harnesses. The guy kept yelling, "We ran out of gas," and I'm thinking, yeah, I get it, I'm working on not drowning. I get through about 2 buckles when he starts back up. Later I found out it was a prank, and they all thought I was daft for not responding when all I was really concerned with was survival.
Number 3.
Lyme disease. Started out thinking I was having a panic attack. Then my heart started palpitating. Then I started to sweat, and my brain started to fog badly, can't describe it much better than that. Thought I was having a heart attack or something. Ended up losing 15 pounds in 3 days from sweating. Sleeping 20 hours a day. After 13 weeks on 2 by 100 mg doxycycline and 3 months to recover, I'm like 95% normal again. I do not recommend Lyme disease as something to try.
Number 4.
When I was little, I was at Chuck E. Cheese for a birthday party. I got in the ball pit, and somehow got stuck lying at the bottom. I remember a bunch of other little kids being on top of me and laughing. I couldn't breathe and I couldn't get out. Luckily some older kids saw what was going on and fished me out. I was so relieved that I bolted back to where the adults were, not even sure I thanked the kid who saved me. Wherever you were a mysterious stranger, thanks a lot.
Number 5.
Powder hunting at Alta Ski Resort. Went down a beautiful, untracked hillside that flattened out before dropping again. I carried extra speed to make it over the flat part, since deep powder slows you down a lot. At the bottom of the hill the compression sent me forward, my skis dived, and I went over, tunneling into the deep powder head first. My nose, mouth, and eyes were jammed with snow. I tried to push myself backward out of the hole I was in, but the snow was too loose. I was suffocating, and trying to fight down the panic. Finally I flipped over on my back, and started flailing my arms like I was doing the backstroke. I eventually saw light, spit the plug of ice out of my mouth, and sucked sweet air. That was my first, and hopefully last, encounter with the White Room.
Number 6.
I was riding my motorcycle down the freeway and I suddenly see the truck in front of me swerve. He didn't swerve far enough and ran over the queen-size mattress that had fallen into the road from the truck in front of him. When he ran over it, the mattress lifted up in the air and flipped. That was the last thing I remember seeing. Next thing I remember, I see ground, sky, ground, sky, ground, sky. I'm rolling down the highway that was just filled with traffic. I could only think 2 things: keep your arms tucked, stupid, and please don't let the car behind me run me over. As soon as I stopped rolling, I jumped up to see if I was about to be run over, and luckily the car was about 15 feet behind me, already stopped. I hobbled over to the grass in the median and collapsed. My helmet, jacket, gloves, and the driver behind me saved my life.
Number 7.
My grandma was driving me to the train station one rainy evening on a winding road with 1 lane in each direction. Suddenly a large truck coming in the opposite direction has its trailer skid, going 90 degrees on the front part of the truck and filling our whole lane with a massive vehicle approaching at a combined speed of more than 100 miles per hour. I just had time to think, so this is how I die, before my gran somehow took our little car into the ditch and up on the road again, at full speed, completely bypassing the oncoming wall of death. Mind you, this is Norway. The ditch was deep and loose, full of rocks and wet soil, with trees and boulders everywhere. That took a reaction time and will control worthy of a world-class rally driver. I was just sitting wide-eyed and dumbstruck in the passenger seat staring at my 78-year-old granny. When I finally came to my senses enough to stutter, "Hey, how the F did you do that?" She just shrugged, a matter of fact had to go round, you see, or else we'd be squashed, and never spoke of it again. To this day I have literally no idea how she managed that. And I never use "you drive like my grandma" as an insult. Indeed, few are worthy of that compliment.
Number 8.
I was scuba diving off the coast of Florida. I was in roughly 60 to 70 feet of water when I got an insane migraine. I had never had a migraine before, and haven't had one since. I couldn't see straight, my head felt like it was about to explode, and I knew that I was about to throw up, but there was a problem. I was underwater. My buddy sensed that something was wrong when I was unresponsive and just floating along upside down. So, he grabbed me and slowly ascended. We had to stop to decompress so we didn't get the bends, and as we were sitting at roughly 15 feet I started throwing up. So here I am puking through my regulator and trying to breathe while essentially feeling like I was being spun around and hit in the head by Mike Tyson. After what felt like an hour, we finally hit the surface. Once we weren't underwater, I spit the regulator out of my mouth and continued to empty my stomach. My buddy inflated my vest so I could just float on the surface and not have to swim. He swam, dragging me behind him, a few hundred yards to the shore. I laid on the shore for the next 45 minutes in full gear, waiting for my head to recover and occasionally ralphing onto the beach next to me. And that, ladies and gents, is why you always dive with a buddy.
Number 9.
I was bouldering, climbing without ropes, at Horse Pens 40 in Alabama. I was about 20 feet up and I'm almost to the top and there's no holds left to get over the top. I stand there for a minute or so and am feeling around for a good hold and can't find anything. Then one of my legs starts to shake uncontrollably and I start to panic. One of my friends was going up a different route and saw what was going on, so he scrambled up to the top and reached over the edge to pull me up. Just as he grabbed my hand, my foot slipped off and he was able to hang on for just enough time to get my footing back and make it to the top. Probably wouldn't have killed me unless I landed really badly, but I would have definitely broken both legs and probably some other bones. If you're bouldering, try to stay under 10 feet and use a crash pad. Don't be stupid.
Number 10.
I saw a pickup truck going the wrong way on the interstate. He was in my lane, perhaps 100 yards away. Our closing speed had to be at least 100 miles per hour. I did the world's fastest lane change and missed being killed by less than a second. I was driving a '74 Honda Civic and that car handled great. In the split second when we crossed, time slowed. I clearly saw the other driver's face. He was an old man sitting hunched over the steering wheel. He needed a shave. I just kept driving, shaking with a death grip on my steering wheel.
Number 11.
Working construction on a pitched second-story roof. I chainsaw through the roof sheeting, which is made of plywood. The sawdust starts cascading down the pitch of the roof, right under my feet. Things get slippery. I start to slide toward the edge, still on my feet. I'm surfing toward the edge now, whether I like it or not. I scramble for a better foothold, but nothing stops me from sliding. So here I am, holding a running chainsaw and slipping toward the edge of the roof with no idea what's underneath. As I approach the edge, I think I can't land on this chainsaw. As I reach the edge, I throw the chainsaw as far as I can, out into a field, then look down at the ground for the split second before I go over the edge. It's like everything is happening in slow motion. I see piles of wood, rebar, cinder blocks, and just your basic construction debris. I see a clear spot about 10 feet from the foundation. This is it. At this point, I'm going over. Period. I make a controlled jump, aiming for the spot with no debris. 2 stories later, I hit the ground exactly in that spot, executed a perfect roll like I would if I took a spill on a skateboard, and am back on my feet, completely unhurt. The chainsaw is on the ground 20 feet away, still running. A guy runs up to me asking if I was okay. He saw it all happen. He's amazed. Tell others. They tell the superintendent. The super calls my boss, who makes me take the rest of the day off just in case.
Number 12.
When I was around 16, I was dating a pretty cool guy. We had the same interests. He was a bit older, my parents liked him, etc., etc. Well, with time I learned he had a bit of a temper and learned what to avoid doing in order not to make him mad. Up to this point he never actually hit me or anything, just shoves and pinches, stuff like that. Actually, I still have a little scar from when he burned me with a cig. Any normal person would have left by then, but my younger self really believed to look for the good in people and had terrible self-esteem. Anyways, one day I snuck out of my house at 2 a.m. We were in the back of his truck making out and he tried to initiate sex. Me, being 16 and raised to be a guilty Catholic, said no. He gets pushy and I keep saying no. He gets mad and puts his hands around my neck and just starts squeezing. Now, I'm a pretty chubby girl, but he was much taller and bigger than me. I was having trouble shoving him off and I'm struggling to breathe and I'm getting a weird feeling in my head, sort of like feeling dizzy and feeling like my eyes are bulging out. The whole time I'm thinking this is it, I should have left when I could. The whole time, we were parked in front of my neighbor's house. The neighbor must have thought it was sketchy and came out. Boyfriend sees and turns on the truck and just drives around before he tells me to get out, and I end up walking home at like 3 in the morning. Never told my family and they still ask about him from time to time even though it's been like 4 or 5 years.
Number 13.
I was skiing at a resort and went out of the gates that said you may die. I have plenty of backcountry experience and knew what I was doing. Problem was it was a complete white out on this peak and I got disoriented along with my 2 friends. We ended up dropping on the backside of the mountain instead of dropping back to the resort. We didn't get out till 10 p.m, we had to hike up a mountain to get out and get cell service for help. The snow was so deep we couldn't touch hard-packed snow with 180 centimeters ski. I had intense hypothermia, and both friends got frostbite pretty good. We actually thought we weren't going to make it and made a death video that I still have to this day. Make sure to share your personal story in the comments below and have the opportunity to be featured in a future video. Also, if you like these topics, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button to continue seeing more content like this every day. See you next time.